Welcome to class, beautiful people. This is design we want to create. Notice the neckline, the design in front, and the pocket. So let's get right into it. So here I have my fabric folded into two. This is going to be the front from top to the length of the senator that we want to make. I made it about 35 or thereabouts, okay? So the width of it is using the widest part of our measurements, add about 2 to 3 inches to it, even though we're still going to reshape it. This is just to cut out what we need or what is going to be enough. So from towards the end of it, I'm going to come down by 2.5 inches to 3 inches. 2.5 is okay, 3 inches is okay. I'm going to slant it this way. Okay, just carefully watch what I'm doing and you're going to understand even without the explanation. So I'll trim it out this way to form a slant. Okay, this is it for the front. So I'm going to place it on another piece which is going to serve as the back. This is it. This is going to serve as the back side. So at towards the hem it is equal, but coming to the shoulder area it is higher by 3 inches. Okay, it is higher by 3 inches. So following the slant I did in the front, I'm going to mark 3 inches. 3 inches. I will mark the 3 inches this way until I get a perfect line. So I'm going to use my ruler and mark it. We're moving step by step, and I will trim off the part that is not going to be in use, like so. So we're ready for what we want to do. Now on the front part, I'm going to come down by half an inch. On the front part, I'm coming down by half an inch. On that half an inch, I'm going to overlap the back. I will place the back on that half an inch. That will be our joining allowance for the shoulders, back and front together. Okay, so make sure it overlaps. Now from the center point like this, after the overlap, I'm going to take my neck width and shoulder measurement. Make sure it aligns with the front. So I'm taking a neck width of 2.5 inches. Our neck measurement is about 16 to 17 inches. Divided by 2. From that 2.5 inches, I will mark whatever I have divided by 2. 2.5 inches as the width, and then I will rotate my tape this way to get my neck measurement divided by 2. That gives me 8.5, meaning that we have our neck, round neck at 17. Okay, so our round neck is at 17 inches. Divide by 2, that will give us 8.5. So I believe you got the simple method of marking your neck width. So this is our shoulder divided by 2 plus half inch seam allowance. All right, so I'll come down by my armhole of 8 inches from the beginning of the back side, and I'll mark my shoulder width to have a straight line. Okay, so from the shoulder line, I'm going to mark my bust length, I'll mark my waist length, I will mark my hip length, and then the remaining is the length of the I'm coming up by 7 inches for the opening by the side. Okay, so at the bust area, I will divide by 4 plus half inch is, and then 1 inch seam allowance. Half inch is altogether is 2 inches to your actual measurement. At the waistline, the same thing, half inch and then 1 inch seam allowance. At the hip line, the same thing, half inch is, then the seam allowance of 1 inch. Okay, so I'm going to connect it this way. This is not going to be too big on the person. Remember, it's a female senator wear using Ankara fabric. So I'll measure what I have at the hip line and also measure it at this part and rule it. Okay, so whatever is left is going to be what we use for the opening, folding of the opening. I'll connect to the armhole line and then I'll slant my armhole this way using my free hand. I'm going to slant. For the front, I'll make sure I dip it in a bit, and for the back, I'll make sure it's a bit out. So this is for the front now. It's a bit deep, but when cutting it, I'll not cut exactly. I will leave something that will look like seam allowance. I hope this is making sense to you who is watching at this point. Please kindly give this video a thumbs up, like it, share it, invite your friends to learn with you. Okay, we're making progress. Now for the neckline at the back, following the crease, I'm going to give it a notch. That is, you know what I mean by the crease line. That is the line where we have that folding. And then I'll give a notch. From that grease line, I'll connect the neckline to where the back neckline touches the front, like this. Okay, I'll cut it out, even though I'm going to go down again by half an inch to make it relax properly. But I need you to see this in stages, right? So I'll fold it over again, placing it on the half inch. The neckline for the back is not well relaxed, so I'm going to come down by half an inch again and connect it to the 2.5 inch for the back neck width, like this. So simple. You overlap it again, you can see that it's really fine, just the way I want it to be. Okay, so we're now going to cut out all our measurements. This is where we're cutting. The other part is going to be the opening for the senator wear at the lower part. Okay, so we're cutting. Like I said before, if you've not subscribed to this channel, I wonder what you are waiting for. So you can decide to cut the back first and then cut the front. But here I'm cutting the front first, but I'm careful not to cut it together with the back. Okay, so I'll just use my eye gauge to cut the back and make sure it's not on the same line with the front. Okay, so this is it, and it looks so beautiful already, right? It looks so beautiful already. So if you've watched to this point, i I can say that you've truly done a lot and you've learned how to cut senator female wear. So here I'm cutting the facing for the back. The facing, we'll use it for this is the facing for the front before the back. Okay, so we're just going to trace out everything that we have for the front, the neckline, the shoulder, and then use it to create the design. 3 inches from the neck width, that is what I've marked. Then the depth where I want the design to stop, about 7 to 8 inches. I'm going to connect using my free hand. Okay, that is the design we have in front. And if you don't want any design, you can just skip this part, or if you want it exactly the way it is, this is how to go about it. So I'll cut the design like so, like this. Very easy and simple. Now the front is going to have openings so that our head can pass. So I'll create the opening of about 5 inches from the neck width. If you think it's too down, you can do 4 inches. It's just what can pass your head If the person has a big head, don't mind me. You can make it a bit longer, but make sure it doesn't show the cleavage of the person. Okay, I'll cut the same thing on the facing. Just like this, I'll cut the same thing. Alright, so this is for the front facing. You can use this facing to turn the neckline as well, but in this video I did not use it to turn the neckline. So this is for the front facing. We are going to cut the back facing just the same way I've cut the front, and this is it. As in the front face, the back facing, we're just going to follow the shape of the back about 5 inches below the shoulders, or wherever you want it to stop, but shouldn't get to the actual armhole line. Okay, so here it is aside. Now we're going to cut our sleeve. The sleeve is 7 to 8 inches. We want it short, 7 to 8 inches. Right, 1 inch below for the hemming, and then I'll add extra half inch on top because I don't want it to be short. I don't want to have shortage, even though the sleeve it's not that long, but this is just how I want it. I came down by 4 inches. On that 4 inches, I'm going to mark the round armhole plus 1.5 inch. Round armhole plus 1.5 inch. The armhole, we remember we used 8 inches, so that's 8 inches is what we marked on the 4 inches that we came down from the sleeve cap. And the round armhole measurement divide by 2 plus seam allowance. Very easy. So I will just cut it this way. Please and please and please subscribe, like it, share it. I'll use this to cut on another for the second sleeve. Like it, share it, make a comment, make a comment, make a comment. Is this something you appreciate? Now I've placed the facing on the front. I want to sew it to the front. Okay, it's going to be on the front, so I'm sewing it right side to wrong side, right side of the facing to the wrong side of the main fabric, right side of the facing to the wrong side of the main fabric, so that I can bring the facing to the front. So after that, this is my bias. The bias, I made it open, not the usual way the bias is, so I can just fold it into two and have something wider. You can also make your own bias, but this is the bias we usually buy in the market. Okay, so I just have to fold it into two instead of folding into three, and I'm going to place it under the facing for the front. And before then, I'm going to fold it over this way and iron it down so that it looks beautiful, so that when I insert the facing underneath, I'm just going to top stitch on it. You can see the way I'm going about it. I'm just going to top stitch on it. Okay, so get the bias, any color of your choice, place it under and top stitch on it very neatly. This is the outcome, so beautiful. So we move over to the pocket side. The pocket can be any shape of your choice, but this is the shape that I finally decided to use. The lower part is wider than the upper part. The lower part is about 3 inches, the upper part is about 2 inches or 2.5 inch. Okay, I'm trying to get a nice shape for it. You can just connect it the way you want, any shape of your choice, but this is what I have, and I'll connect it like so. Okay, I'm just creating a pattern. So once I finish making the pattern, I'll cut it out and use it to cut on my fabric. So I hope you have something in mind that you want to make a type of pocket, or you can do this particular one and it will come out beautiful. So I just have to make sure it's aligned properly. I just want to trim it out so that it aligns properly. Now I'm going to use it to cut my pockets. You might decide to add some allowances or not. Now where I'll place the pocket from my shoulders, I'm going to measure about 18 inches or 18 and a half inches because I've not joined the shoulders of this garment. So cut. Now you can decide to place it at your center front or beside towards the center front, wherever you want it, where your pockets, you're comfortable with your pockets being. Okay, so this is the pockets, and I'm going to use this same bias to finish up the opening of the pockets. Right, I'm going to use it to finish up the opening of the pockets. Once I finish it that way, I'm going to iron the pocket and fold the sides using my iron, my pressing iron. You can see it. And this is the same thing I did at the front is of the design is what I did in the pocket to fix the bias under the pocket. Now front and back is going to be joined together for the shoulder, wrong side to wrong side, like you want to wear your dress, wrong side to wrong side to finish the shoulder properly. I'll get the back bias and place it right side to the right side of the front, right side to the right side of the front, and then I will stitch them together. This is so that when I finish sewing it, I will place or push the facing behind to stay and at the back. I hope this is making sense to you, or I'm beginning to talk too much. So, like I said, I'll push it backwards after joining it. Now, after joining, this is it. Your iron needs to be on a steady because you need to iron as you go. Iron the shoulders properly, iron the two shoulders properly. Now the facing, you're also going to iron it down. Fold over, okay? At this lower part of the facing, you're going to fold over. I'm going to use the pattern on that part to fold it over. That's like half an inch. So as I'm folding, ironing or pressing it down so it relaxes properly. Whenever you're making a senator wear, your iron needs to be on because every single thing has to be ironed down. Okay, so once it's ironed this way, I'm going to top stitch on it. Carefully top stitch on it. Now the neckline, I've not finished it. I'm going to use bias to finish the neckline. Like I said before, you can use the two faces or facing to finish the neckline, but in this case, I'm using bias, right? After which, I'm going to sew in my sleeve. Put the armholes together and mark the shoulder points, and then sew in my sleeves. Turn up the neckline with the bias, right? And after that, our senator is coming out ready. The next thing is to close the sides. Remember, I added the sleeve before closing the sides. So once you add the sleeves, you can now take your final measurement if you have to and close it up. But make sure that your closing is going to stop where the opening is going to start. Okay, so when joining, don't go curvy at the armhole. Make sure it is straight so you will not have any kind of discomfort or folding around that part. Thank you for watching. This is the outcome of what we have just made. Hope you love it. See you in my next video. Bye. Thank you for watching.